Business, a person's occupation, profession, or trade. Connection, a relationship in which a person or idea is linked or associated with something else. Welcome to Business Connection. Each week, our program will offer inspiration to navigate the business world. Information you can use to succeed in any field. And we will help you focus on your goals. Join us now for Business Connection with your host, BC Clark.
Well, hello everyone. This is the Business Connection. My name is BC Clark, your host. Today, as you know, I interview business owners across the state, some out of state as well. But today my guest is Stevie Rae Vaughn, a new entrepreneur who just launched her business called Crowned by Stevie Rae. Now, you probably know that name. So without further ado, Stevie, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Glad to be here.
Yes. And so tell us a little bit about Stevie, and then we'll talk some more about the business. Okay.
So I am a wife. I am a mother. I am a friend, a sister, a cousin. I'm a shoulder to lean on. And I love people. I love developing relationships with people. And I'm excited to start my new business.
Yes. So have you been thinking about it for a long time?
Yeah, since I was a kid. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wow. So you kind of knew already.
Yes.
Now,
most definitely.
And a lot of people would say, oh, this is what I was, supposed to do a long time ago. And that's true. We all have those desires and those things in our heart. And a lot of times by the time we get to 25 or 30, that desire has went to something else.
Right.
But now you stayed on it. You kept saying, this is what I want to do. And so how much time, I want to say, and not that I'm throwing questions at you, but I always like people to just, kind of just walk us through that. When did you finally decided that? Because you're probably working a full-time job.
I am.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So, but when did you decide, well, you know what, I'm just going to go do this thing?
I decided that about a year and a half ago. It's always been a dream of mine to have my own clothing line. I grew up watching my mother as a seamstress make my clothes, make her clothes. She would make bridal gowns for friends and make whole wedding party attire. And it was just something that I fell in love with. And so I went to school for fashion design, but that never really got the opportunity to do anything. Just, being a mom and a wife, make a very busy schedule.
Oh, sure.
And so I knew my girls would be going off to college this year. And so I started preparing about like I said, a year and a half ago to take this on and bring it to fruition.
That's so amazing. I think also as parents, we dread that day when they are all leaving to go either to school or to service or wherever.
Yes.
And we don't know how bad it is until that time is almost there. So you were smart to start a year and a half ahead of time so that you were preparing yourself for the empty nest syndrome, but also to have something to do so that would take up some of that void.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I still have one at home.
Okay.
He's only 7, so
Well,
we got
that's
a
a
while.
while.
We got a while still.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a void
Yeah.
with my twins being gone.
Oh my goodness, you have twins.
Yes.
I do too.
Yeah. Oh, do you? Okay. Yeah. They're fun.
They're fun. Yes, they are. I think they're more fun when they get older. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah.
I had my twins in Japan. We were military family. And that was a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That was a lot.
That's an experience.
It is. It's definitely an experience. But I know that you have wonderful products and you just launched like last Saturday. Congratulations.
Yes.
That's so amazing. Tell me what type of design and things like that. And you don't have to go into detail, but just talk a little bit about your product line.
So it's a faith-based clothing line. Every design has something on it that God gave me to inspire me and to bring me through a very difficult time in my life. So about 7 years ago, I just went through something that was, really traumatic and hard. And at first, I rebelled, was really mad at God.
Yeah.
But then he doesn't leave me alone. So
Praise God.
yes, thank you for that. So I had to lean into his grace and his mercy and ask for forgiveness. And when I did that, he just began to impart things into me to hopefully inspire others and draw other people into him to know who he is, to want to walk bold in their faith. And
Amen.
that's what has really developed, Crowned by Stevie Rae, and me
Wow.
bringing this clothing line to be.
That's so amazing. You know, it's so wonderful that we have a father that don't
Yeah,
give up on us.
that part.
You know,
Yeah.
no matter how we rebel and are stubborn, there's no other way but through him.
There's no other way.
And a lot of times we have to go through something before
Yeah.
before we get to that part.
Yes.
But praise be to God, he doesn't give up.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
So repenting is, to me, is where you start.
It is.
You know,
Yeah.
because without that, then you know, you're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
But I think once you submit and just say, you know what, I
Yeah.
can't do this without you. I need
Yeah.
you.
That's the hardest thing, is the submission part.
Yes.
And everyone, especially us as women, we look
Yes.
at that word as, negative. But it's what I've realized, it's not a taking away of your power, it's stepping into it. When you submit, you are sub to his mission.
Amen.
And so
Sorry.
it'd be,
I'm
no,
talking
you're
about right
fine. And
No, that's true.
yeah,
And that's
it leads you to your purpose.
It does, because we all have a purpose, you know, and I always talk about that. You know, there's two most important days of our lives, you know, and that's the day we were born and the day we found out why, you know.
Yes.
And so when you think about that, you know that he has everything to do with everything,
Yes, he
you
does.
know, and
Yes, he
sometimes
does.
we think we can do it ourselves.
And we cannot.
We cannot.
We cannot.
We weren't even designed to do that.
No.
You know, and I think that we, you know, in our in our ignorance, I would say, is that, you know, we don't take into consideration how we were made, why we were made. And a lot of times we don't find that out till later in life. A lot of times, you know, you're 50 when you find out what your real purpose is.
Yeah.
You know, but all that time getting there was training. It was character building. It was getting you prepared to then take on that role of the
Yes.
purpose that he put within us. And so whatever, you know, whatever that is, I always say I really found out my purpose when I was like 40. You know, and during that time, I was working a high stress job in IT for many, many years. And then one day I just said, I don't want to do this anymore. You know, pay was great. I mean, all these things were, you know, good reputation in the work I was doing, but you still, you're not satisfied.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
I think that happens when you know you have to search yourself now. Okay, what's going on here? What's happening
Yeah.
with me? And that's how it happens, you know.
Yeah.
And then you get into where he really wanted you to be.
Yes.
And that's whether for me, it's inspiring women to be the best that they can be. It's in helping them say, you know, no, yes, you can. You can
Right.
do this.
Right.
You know, and I'm not about movements. I'm about let's get the thing done.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
let's believe in who created you. Let's believe in yourself, and let's move forward. You know,
Yeah.
I know move forward is going to be a big thing going forward, but now I'm just saying this is what it
Yeah,
is.
taking that
we
first
can't
step.
say, we can't just sit down and say if I coulda, woulda, because that
Right.
doesn't work.
Yeah.
Nothing happens with that.
No.
And everything he did, he spoke.
Yes.
So we have to speak as we move,
Exactly.
and that's the big thing about
It
it.
is. It is.
let
And
me
that's
preach.
what kind of drove me, is knowing that I'm not mediocre. I am meant for a bigger purpose. I've always
Amen.
known that.
Yes.
And also knowing that I don't want to go to my grave full. I want to be emptied out.
Amen.
I want to pour out everything that he's put in me
Yes.
in order to become who he created me to be, and to help my community. Like I want to be more involved in my community and helping us thrive. And the only way to do that is through Christ.
Yes. And the thing that I think is really good too is that, you know, it's good when we know that we have a greater good to be done out of us. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes.
And so community is huge for me, making sure that the people, and I'm, you know, I mean, I'm from Louisiana, but I feel like this, I've been here for a long time, so this is my community. Being able to educate them, whether it's in business, whether it's in their career, whatever that might be, whatever it is, to get them past that point where they're thinking, There's nothing else to do. There's always, as long as you're here, there's something else to do.
Yeah, I always tell my kids, the day you stop growing is the day you die.
That's right.
You should not stop growing before that point.
You have to have a goal continuously.
Yeah.
You know, when you get to the point where I've done everything, we've never done everything because people are watching us. There's people, if we don't become successful and do what we're supposed to do, they don't.
Right.
And so I'm always looking back, who's following me? You know
Yes,
what I mean?
yes,
I want to make
yes,
sure I'm walking straight. I'm making sure I'm not making any stupid moves and things like that. Because people are watching. They're trying to see, where am I going?
And it's always the people you least expect.
Always.
Always those people.
Always. It really is. And then you look at a lot of people and you say, oh, they're so together. But you don't know what road they're on. You don't know where they came from. You don't know where they're going and what they might be in right now. And so I always give grace to whoever. You know, it doesn't matter to me. Grace is something you give to everybody. It's just, sometimes it's just a smile on your face.
Yeah.
You know, to just lift people up. Sometimes it's just, speaking when they look like they don't think anybody's going to speak to them.
Right.
Just things like that, you'll be surprised at how that really works.
Oh, yeah, it
And
changes the whole day around.
It changes everything. And so I'm always kind of conscious of that, when I see people, especially if I see them and they've got a sad face, I'll make a comment and say, you want popcorn? Just something, to get a smile out of them. Yeah. And I love that. But I love the fact that, you have gone and you've got this together and now you've got a place or you have your stuff. So where do people go online to order? Or okay, they go online. Okay.
So I'll be launching this Saturday at the Essential Gathering Place. I'm having a fashion show.
Oh, okay. And that's on
Yep, 45th, North 45th.
45th? Is that on 42nd?
Everyone says that. My house is right on 42nd. But yeah, I live like a block away.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, so it's 45th. I don't know why I thought it was on 42nd Street. Okay, it's a cemetery over there somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Right next
door.
door.
Right next door to it.
Okay, all right, and that's 45th Street. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And so it's at 6 p.m.
Okay.
There's going to be entertainment. There's going to be refreshments.
Oh
Merchandise can be purchased there.
Okay.
Very excited. This is the first time I'm doing anything like this. So.
Yes. No, you should be excited. This
a lot
this
of
is
hard
a milestone.
work.
Yes.
Yeah.
To be able to launch. So 6 p.m. Do you know the actual address? So our audience can. Okay. So we'll say, all right. So this Saturday, which is the third.
The November 2nd.
November 2nd.
Yep.
At the Essential Gathering Place. We don't exactly know the address, but between 42nd and 45th.
The tickets can be purchased at eventbrite.com.
Okay, and the name of it is?
Crowned by Stevie Rae. Yes.
So, Eventbrite, okay. Crowned by Stevie Rae is it. It's a wonderful fashion show this Saturday. There'll be food, and you know how we do it.
We got to eat everywhere. Every time we have something, we got to eat.
That's right. We have something there. But come out and support a new entrepreneur. I'm going to be there, and I'm going to make sure I call out my friends and let them know. So you come and support local. This is local. So come and support Crowned by Stevie Rae, her new apparel and other things that she has. At the Essential Gathering Place. And most of you know where that's located at. So we'll look forward to seeing you there at 6 p.m. But now, Stevie, talk a little bit for those who are maybe in that industry and just now coming up. Talk to them a little bit how, some of the things that you were able to accomplish and get done that they may not know, so that they could have maybe some resources that they could, look at and stuff.
So I started with a business mentor, and she was phenomenal in pushing me to start writing a business plan. I ended up joining the Snap and Boost program through Grow Nebraska Women's Center. We had someone come into our church and speak to us there, and I ended up joining that course. So I actually graduated last Tuesday from that.
Good.
So my business plan is complete. Well, I won't say complete because it's never really finished, because your business is supposed to grow and expand. And then I was able to get my LLC. I had to apply for a sales tax permit in order to sell merchandise. Working on my website, so that will actually launch in about 2 weeks. And then purchasing merchandise, for this
Getting that
event.
inventory, yes.
That inventory for this event, that was the biggest stressor, I think. Yeah. I want to encourage people too, like, you don't need a lot of money to start something. And that was always my idea, that I needed all this money to start. But I ended up just starting with what I had, and God just continued to bless me to be able to fund everything. And then I've had people donate things. I've had people say, "Oh, I'll cover that for you."
Yes.
So I'm very, very grateful.
That's good.
And this has been a learning process, and it's going to continue to be
It
one.
will, yeah. That'd be awesome. And that's great. The thing too is that I think that a lot of times people think, I can't do this, I can't do that. But you have to get out and do something. You have to look at what part you can do and then move in that direction to get those things done. Because again, if you're, my mother used to always say, and she still says it today, is if you make one step, he'll make two. And I believe that.
My business mentor, Sarah, yes, she told me the same thing.
Yeah, you got to keep moving.
Yeah.
And you have to do something. You can't just sit and wait for someone to come and bring you everything. That's not going to happen.
Right.
Because you have to have the desire and the passion to make, to want it, for it to happen. And in doing that, that means you have to put in something.
Yeah.
You have to have skin in the game.
Yeah.
You can't just say, I'm gonna. Ghana is not here anymore.
No, it's not.
And so you have to jump up and move, and don't, think that you have to stay in a certain area. And what I mean by that is, networking. Networking is so huge. So don't just think that you can only network with the people you know.
Yeah.
No, money is green all over the place.
Yeah.
So make sure that you're getting out and that you're, letting people know who you are and letting them know about your business and things like that. And go to different things, even things that's not in your industry, because the money is green, and you never know who's looking for your product.
Right.
There could be someone in construction. It could be any, So everybody can be able to support you. And I think people stay too close to themselves and in their little niche, and it's just
Miss out on a lot.
Oh, they miss out on so much. I mean, I see stuff that a lot of people leave a lot of stuff on the table.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, if you're just trying to kind of talk to them, say, hey, why don't you go to this? They think, oh, no, I don't want to go to that. It doesn't have anything to do with my industry. What does that mean?
It doesn't mean anything.
No, it doesn't. It means ignorance.
nothing.
That's what it means to me.
Yeah.
And that's sad because, a lot of us perish for lack of knowledge.
Yeah, that's true.
So
That's true.
I always say that the more you know, the more you grow. And if you're not doing that, then you're leaving things, money, opportunities, everything on the table.
Completely agreed.
Yes.
Yeah,
So you have to be able to get out and show yourself and be who you are and stand tall and stop all this
Yes.
staying back in the corner. And I don't like when people say, I'm just a. What is
Don't
that?
limit yourself.
No.
Why would you?
What? Because you don't know any better.
Yeah.
And so when I hear that, I always cringe. I'm like, okay, you're right here and you're not going to move.
Yep.
And then later I'll say, if you could just move, I'm just and say, I am a.
Yes. Yeah.
It's so easy.
It is.
The word JUST, I got a an acronym for it. I can't think of it right now, and I always say, you do not want to have this in anything you got to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So you be you.
Yeah.
Come out and let people know that, hey, I got things going on and this is what's happening.
Yeah.
And then there's people that want to learn from you. So if they never hear you talk or speak somewhere about you, they don't know.
Yeah.
You
They
know?
don't you have the knowledge that they need.
Yes. And so some other things I want to talk about. So talk a little bit about that process. So did you have your things made? You designed them and then sent them out to be made? Or how did that process
So kind of
work
both.
for you?
I'm having things that are being made, and then I also have things that I'm making
That you're
myself.
making yourself, yeah.
Yeah, so going to school for fashion design, I learned how to do a lot.
Yeah.
Nothing that I'm making is from a pattern that I've created currently, but eventually I will get there. But just having my designs that I've created, graphic designs, being put onto garments that I've
Yes.
purchased. And so
I'm so
I'm
proud
doing
of
a
you.
part of it, and then I have someone else helping me as well.
That's so good.
Yeah.
I'm
Yep.
so happy.
Shout out to a niece with Abundant Faith and Joy. She's
Yes.
my quote unquote manufacturer.
Yeah. Oh, that's so awesome. Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, you have to have a tribe.
Yes.
You can't do
do
this alone, and that tribe is really important.
Yes.
Because especially if you have someone that has your back, someone that's want to see you thrive, That's a good tribe to have, because we have
Oh
a lot of
yeah,
tribes that are kind
for
of
sure. Yeah.
shaky. But I think that one thing too that I think is really great is the time that you took to, go to school. Because some people say, I'm just going to do this. But a lot of times you don't know all the things that you need to know.
Yeah.
And sometimes, not sometimes, most of the time, education is what gets you to where you
It
need to
will.
go.
It
Because
will.
there's things you don't know that happens in the education realm of your industry
Yeah.
that you need to know about, and you can learn it by going to webinars or workshops or whatever.
Yeah,
But I think the other thing too is that when we decide that we know everything about it, we lose.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for sure. Because you definitely don't. And things evolve.
Yes.
This world is constantly
Continuously.
changing. So knowing that the world is changing, taking the steps to make sure that you can evolve with it is
That's
very
right.
important.
You have to continue to educate yourself.
Yeah.
No matter, I don't care how long you've been in the industry, I still do the same. I still go to workshops. I still, take classes. I do all of that. Because you know what? I still want to know how I can best serve my clients. And I'm
Yeah.
a consultant, so I need to know everything.
Yeah, oh yeah,
And
most
I need to know as
definitely.
much as I can know,
Yeah.
along with the experience that I have. I still need those other things that I need to put in. So going to workshops and going to listening in on webinars and things like that gives me additional tools that I can use to make sure that I can bring to them, the best that I have, so that they
Yeah.
can grow and be the best that they can be. And I think sometimes people just stop at a point. That's why I don't like to go to doctors that tell me that they haven't been to school in the last 10 years.
I never thought of that.
So I figure if it's good for me,
Yeah.
it's got to be good for them,
Yeah.
because they do more dangerous
Yeah.
stuff.
They are continuously practicing.
Exactly, exactly.
It's a
And
practice,
I'm
not a
telling you, they
perfection.
have to. And then that's what I really love about some of the young people. Say, I don't want to go to a young doctor, but let me tell you, those young doctors know.
Yeah.
They're being educated on
Cutting
the
edge
best
technology.
technology and everything. They
Yeah.
know, because a lot of things that they operated on us for years ago won't happen today.
Right.
There's a little cut that they make, and they can take care of everything. Some of it you don't have to go in the hospital for. So
Yeah.
to me, I'm like, okay, when was the last time I went to school?
Right, right.
know,
That makes a
you know,
lot of sense. Yes.
Because I'm thinking, I got to keep going. You need to keep going too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just the way my head thinks.
I love
but-
that thinking.
because that is what it is. I mean, even in manufacturing, things have changed so much
So much,
that you
so
need to be
much,
with
so
the
much,
best
so much.
manufacturer you can.
Yeah.
That's going to bring you the best amount for stuff, because people,
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of times they'll just charge you anything because they know you don't know. But when you
Mm-hmm.
know the information and you know what things can be done a certain way,
Yeah.
when you take it to them, you can say, this is how I want it. They may say, oh, well, you should have this. It says, no,
Right.
this is why I want it.
This is why I
If
want
you
it
can't
that
do
way.
it, if you can't do it, let me know
Right,
so we
right,
can move
right,
on.
right, right.
But it's a pleasure, to know that you've done that, and to talk to people how important that is, because education about your industry is what really brings success to you.
Yes,
You know,
it does. It
And
does.
and I always say that, information brings revelation
Yeah, it
that
does.
leads to transformation.
It does.
And so it's really important that happens,
Mm-hmm.
And especially you'll get to a point where you're teaching others. So you want to, stay on top of that. And,
Yeah.
and I'm sure because sewing is one of the skills that I learned in school.
Yeah, and
And
they
then
don't
I'll
teach
do that.
anymore.
And then they say we don't have enough skilled laborers. Well,
Yeah,
okay,
that
you
you're
took
taking
out
everything
you
out.
took out everything, art. You took out wood shop and all this stuff.
Yep.
You took out sewing and home ec and all these things that really gave people some things that they may think about what they want to do. Now you just what?
Yeah, I
do
know.
they even talk
Going to
about
school for things that they'll never even use. And
Yes.
that was
mean-
the thing for me. I wanted to make sure that I owe the government a lot of money
Yes.
for student loans.
Yes.
And I want to make sure that I'm going to get
Every penny
their
back.
money's worth out of it.
That's right.
So
That's right.
definitely wasn't going to let that dream
No.
die. And things come up in life where you'll feel discouraged and you feel like,
Talk about that, girl.
I
Talk
can't,
about it.
I can't do this, or I don't have what I need to do this. And honestly, I went to school. I didn't actually graduate.
Yeah.
I didn't actually get to graduate. And it didn't stop me, but there was always that insecurity behind what
People
I
make you
wanted
feel-
to do, because I felt like I didn't get that piece of paper. Truth is, you don't need a piece of paper to be a fashion designer. But I just wanted to,
To have it, yeah.
I wanted to grow my craft. I
Yeah.
wanted to be skilled at what I was going to do. But I took what I learned
Yes.
and I ran with it. And I just made sure
look
that I
at where
kept
you
the
are.
vision.
Yes.
Kept the
Yes.
vision.
And you know, people don't realize how important it is to have a vision, even
Yeah.
a vision for your family, a vision for your business, and set goals for each, for your career, whatever that might be. But you know, what do you want to do next year? People say, well, if it's the end of the year and you don't have plans for next year, that's
Yeah.
something to think about.
Yeah, it is.
You know,
It is.
we have less than 2 months before this year ends, and so we need to know what we plan to do. And if we
Yeah.
didn't make everything that we wanted to make happen, because things happen.
It
If
does.
everything didn't go the way we wanted to, if the revenue we wanted didn't happen, now we plan for the next year.
Yeah.
You have those goals set. Okay, starting in January, I'm going to do this. You
Yeah.
know, that these things here will bring in revenue that way by the time I get to December of next year, I will be where I want. I will have met my revenue goals. If not, I still have been working towards that.
Right.
So setting those goals helps us stay with, moving in the direction of that
Right,
vision.
right.
It's just when we stop that
Yeah.
nothing happens.
Yeah, I'll say, and making sure that just because you fall short of that goal, you don't stop. Don't let
Right.
that deter you. Putting together this event for Saturday, there has been wall after wall after wall, but me trusting in God, He has knocked
Amen.
every single one of those walls down, and really proven to me that, like you said before, without God, we can do nothing. There's no way that I could ever have done this without God.
We just give Him the glory, don't we?
All day, every
Just
day.
give Him the
Yeah.
glory, girl. So if you could give, just look back on your life and just want to give just a tidbit to someone that might be at a point where, like you said, maybe struggling and thinking this didn't happen, so I can't do anything. What's your advice?
Well, I'm going to say what my good friend, Miss Gladys Harris from
Yeah,
Big
oh,
Mama's
yep,
Kitchen
yep.
told me the first time I met her. Everything you need to do what it is your purpose to do is already in you. I took
That's
that.
That's it.
When she
He
said
did
that
everything
to
when
me, I was like,
Yep. That's true.
it's true.
That's true.
It is
He put
true.
everything in us when
He
He
wouldn't have
created
given me the
us.
desire and the passion
Yep.
if it
Give it up.
wasn't in me.
That's right.
And
It
so I
is.
live on that.
That's
now.
right. And that's such a great thing to live on, because that's what that purpose is. When He put that purpose in us, it's different for every one of us. But you know what? Everything we need to do is in us. So we just need to walk out in it. And if
Yeah.
we're having trouble, call on Him. He knows.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
He knows.
I always tell my kids, say, Holy Spirit, help me. When you don't know the answer on
That's
the test.
right. That's
When
right.
you're stuck, when you can't find something, when you're in trouble, Holy Spirit, help me.
And even if you're looking for your keys,
That I do it all
Hello.
the time.
Me too.
And they pop up. And I've already looked there like 7 times.
and didn't see Him. Yeah. This has been amazing. Thank
Yes.
you so much for
Thank
coming and
you.
telling us about your new venture. And
Yes.
God bless you.
Thank
I'll see
you.
you on Saturday, God willing. Okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna make sure I let people know.
Thank
so thank you
you.
for being here, and thank you for watching.